when black South African students took to the streets to challenge the Afrikaans curriculum that was imposed upon them. It was only after the apartheid laws were abolished in 1994 that the government made an undertaking to remember all of those who laid down their lives for a better learning environment. 45 years down the line, South African youth still face many challenges, and others have changed their situations to tell a good story through their proactive activism in their respective communities. Well, via Zoom, we now talk to Month I Raheem Nkumane, who does a lot of work uplifting those less fortunate than in his community. Thanks so much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so you're a young person, and so you understand the struggle of the youth. And some would say that there's just so much despair out there. The president has said, take charge of your life. And I guess from a position of not having a lot of hope, to listen to that message and actually do something might be a huge jump for people. What kind of message would you have today when you look back at your life and the way that you've been able to mobilize yourself and help others?
Greetings to you and the viewers. Our society currently, we are facing many difficulties, in particular the youth. And as you have mentioned, that the Honorable President Cyril Ramaphosa today was addressing the nation, in particular the youth. He said, as I summarize his speech, he was basically giving out a message to us, the youth, to say, we need to stand up and take charge of our lives and take charge of our future. So where I'm coming from is in Winterveld. That's where I'm doing some work in regards to community development, basically your community-driven development type of an approach, where we are trying as much as we can to participate on the solution side of things, rather than just sitting around and complaining about everything. We try to use what we have, where we are, with whomever we have around us. So in the past 10 years that I've been in the community development space, we have managed to establish a couple of institutions and managed to do some very fruitful partnerships in regards to addressing issues of youth. In particular, we are concentrating more on poverty, ignorance, and disunity. These are our three biggest enemies as the youth in South Africa. Now, my humble advice to anyone who is watching and anyone who will watch is that as citizens of this country, we are all equally responsible of our future. The main and important thing that we all must come together and agree upon is that all of us, one way or the other, we need to play a positive role in our communities, a positive role in where we're coming from. Because it is indeed the work of the collective that will take the youth forward. We would like to see more priority in matters that are related to the youth, in particular empowerment of the youth. We want them to also take the center stage, and whereby they are also addressed like many other issues. So basically, I'm saying that the youth needs a bailout. And we are appealing to the stakeholders of the country. We are appealing to the private sector also to say that they need to somehow create a space and an opportunity for our youth to thrive. Because the honorable founding father of our country, President Nelson Mandela, may God rest his soul, he said that the youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow. Hence, equally, we are saying that the youth of today have to be those that prepare for those who are coming after them tomorrow. So if we cannot create a thriving environment today as the youth, tomorrow we might find ourselves in a very awkward situation whereby our youth will just turn out to be a waste of history, if I may put it that way respectfully. So our humble message is that anyone, wherever you are, that's where Allah, God has put you. So you must make sure that you use that particular space to the best of your ability. When you are having a car wash, for example, in the township somewhere, make sure that you become the best in that car wash and you create job for others. when you are in a social space, whatever career path you are in, whether you are an imam, whether you are a pastor, whether you are a reverend, whatever space that you are in, make sure that somewhere, somehow, you influence processes for the greater good of the youth of today and tomorrow. That's our humble message.
All right. So, I'm just thinking of a young man perhaps who's in Winterveld somewhere. He finished school last year, perhaps just got through matric or didn't quite pass. And he's now thinking, what do I do next? COVID-19 has hit. Unemployment is even worse. And he is in despair. What does he do? The president says, take charge. How do you take charge from a position like that?
Well, that's a very, quite a difficult question to answer. But what I'm going to say to you now is that as youth of South Africa, if we can somehow come together in our own community. For an example, you are talking about someone who just finished school last year. They don't have money to go to university. They are not approved maybe by also other bursary schemes and so on. I mean, I'm coming from that background personally. Let me just put it like that, where my education basically was a result of the smaller things that I used to do, whereby I used to sell something so that I can get something to pay for my fees, and also try and sustain myself. So my advice is that the youth should not give up, and they shouldn't be, they should be having some sort of a drive that they want to achieve. Because remember, every one of us, one way or the other, post-apartheid, anyone post-apartheid, we all had difficulties in our lives. So we are appealing to the youth that they should maybe find a way, a creative way, a tailor-made solution for themselves so that they can lift themselves out of these difficult conditions.
What kept you going? What kept you inspired in the face of all of these challenges?
Growing up in Winterveld, Winterveld is one of the most poorest communities in the country, in the north of Pretoria. I've seen the challenges that my community were facing growing up. And that includes your drug abuse, your teenage pregnancies, your illiteracy, and so on. So I said, now, as a person, as an individual who managed to try and thrive out of that condition, what can I do to find my way back to my community and doing something positive and progressive in my community? So I came together with a few of my friends, and we said, you know what, something needs to be done. And we started with whatever it is that we had together, and we established a community center. And the community center was there, and till today it's still there. It's still servicing the youth. I can give you a very practical example. As I said, that we have made very fruitful collaborations and partnerships with many organizations. Currently, the center, we are tasked to train about 850 adolescent young girls and boys. So far, we have trained almost half of them. And we did a few job placements in the community, in our local tuck shop owners, and so on and so forth. So we're trying our bits and pieces here and there. But my greatest motivation was that as a human being living in South Africa, where Allah has put me in South Africa. I was born in South Africa. So the best way to start doing anything in our Smallanyana corner is to start by empowering those who are around us. So we started facilitating some bursaries for the youth. So far, we have about 80 youth that are in the business school, and another 15 that are in the normal universities as well, through facilitation. So what kept me going was that I always wanted to be some way, somehow contribute. I wanted to always contribute positively to society. And I always try to use what I have, where I am, with whoever I am with. Yeah.
I get a sense that one of your driving energies has been your faith, and perhaps allowing spirits to come into your life. I don't want to sound like a preacher, but is that a valuable tool for young people, perhaps to get some spirituality in their lives to assist?
Definitely. I mean, spirituality and also religion, doesn't matter what religion you are in, it's very important for society. It's very important to build society. Personally, my drive, of course, was Islam. I was born a Muslim, and I grew up as a Muslim. So there are many advices, there are many laws, scriptures that will tell you. First and foremost, I'll give an example. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that if you see something wrong, try to change it with your hand. If you cannot change it with your hand, try to change it with your speech. If you cannot change it with your speech, try to change it in your heart. But those who are trying to change it in their hearts, they are the weakest amongst the believers. So I've seen a situation in Winterfell whereby our youth were struggling, sitting around tuck shops the whole day. Our sisters were abused. You know the whole sugar daddy situation that was going wild in Winterfell. Then we said that what can we do? So the first law is you change something with your hand. So we did whatever we can where we are with whoever we were with to make sure that we try and change it with our hand. And today I can say that at least we are presiding over one of the high social impact institution, Winterfell Juma Masjid, which is providing service to the community in Winterfell. Yes.
Amir Raheem Nkumane, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very, very much indeed for sharing your wise words and your story as well. And I hope that it inspires many young people to come together, as you've suggested, wherever they may be, and start to, bit by bit, put things together. But thank you so much for your time on this special day on our program.